Good evening and welcome to the Carnegie Town Hall. This meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council will begin in a few moments.
Otherwise, detained.
Otherwise,
Well, I'll do my best.
yeah.
I'll do my best.
We'll fumble through.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll have another.
Yes, you made it very clear. Yes, and we're not going to go to
All right.
So we need a 2-1 vote.
You ready for the 1 minute?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome to the meeting of the City Council and the Minnehaha County Commissioners. The meeting will start in 1 minute. That's next week. Or that's on the 6th. Oh.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's joint meeting between the Sioux Falls City Council and the Minnehaha County Commission. Certainly pleased to have everybody here. It is Tuesday, July 23rd. We're very, very honored to have the commissioners of Minnehaha County here. Let's start by introducing them to the people of our county and the people of our city.
Council members Aguilar? Here. Anderson?
Here.
Entenmann?
Here.
Erpenbach?
Here.
Jamison?
Here.
Karski?
Here.
Rolfing?
Here.
Staggers?
Present.
Thank you. I actually wanted to introduce the commission first,
Sorry.
but that's okay. We'll now introduce the fine members of the county commission. Please, let's introduce them.
Commission members Barth? Benninga? Heiberger? Kelly? Here. Peckus?
Very good, very good. We start our meeting with our Pledge of Allegiance. If we can have you all stand and recite the pledge, we appreciate it. Well, thank you for that. We appreciate it. Let's now move on to our agenda. Commission, would anybody want to approve today's agenda?
I'd make a motion to approve the agenda. Jeff Barth here.
Commissioner Barth has made a motion to approve. It's been seconded by Commissioner Kelly. If we could have all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is passed. Now moving on to the Sioux Falls City Council. Council?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Erpenbach.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve our agenda. It was seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Council members Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 8-0. We now have business to partake in, so let's start with item number 1.
Item number 1 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota rezoning property at 9000 East 41st Street from the A1 Agricultural District to the RR Rural Residential District and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls.
Hello, I'm Scott Anderson. I'm Planning Director for the county, and I'll be presenting this tonight to you. The applicant owns 2.63 acres and is requesting to rezone approximately half of that, of about 1.5 acres to rural residential. The 1.3 acres, excuse me. The property is located near the intersection of River Bluff Road and 41st Street. Flip that up just a bit. And I have a PowerPoint presentation that I will show you here. Here's the general location. You can see it's located on 41st Street and South River Bluff Road. There is a major subdivision to the north and to the west. The applicant is requesting to rezone the 1.3 acres of his 2.6 acres to rural residential, the north portion of his property, in order to be able to construct a single-family residence on the property. Currently, the site would be served by a septic system. However, there is plans for a sanitary sewer line from the city that would extend through this property and would provide service to this property. Once the property would be annexed into the City of Sioux Falls, the property owner would give permission and a time frame to connect up to that sanitary sewer district. Currently, it's served by rural water, and once again, when city water is available, the applicant has indicated that he would hook up to that. There was a public hearing held before the joint City-County Planning Commissions on June 24th. The rezoning request was presented as part of the regular agenda, and there was a public hearing held. The Planning Commission had a split decision. The city voted 4-0 for approval, and the county voted 3-1 for denial. And those minutes have been included for your review. So I'll go through a couple of pictures for you, slides of the area to give you a general idea of what it looks like. It is a rolling area, rolling hills, and it's very well wooded. And this is, applicant has done some general cleanup earthwork showing where the proposed building site would be. And these are generally the site where they would build. This is the building site. You can see where the county planner parked, and that would be a driveway that would provide access to the parcel. This is the other neighbor that's out there. This would be his driveway. And this is River Bluff Road, which is a section line road that is not maintained by the Split Rock Township. So, and that is the conclusion of the slides. I'll take it back to the overall site plan, and you can look at this. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have. The applicant is here as well and may wish to address you.
Scott, thank you. Mr. Cooper, did you have any comments on behalf of the city?
Mike Cooper, City Planning and Building Services. I would just say that we have done a good job over the recent years of working with both Minnehaha and Lincoln counties as far as addressing proposed rural development around our city limits. And this is one that we've talked about before. I think this is the second attempt that they've made to allow for a building eligibility on this property. The City Council is aware that we've identified about 50 different locations of existing rural developments that are adjacent to our city limits or that are within our projected growth areas. And we do struggle when we get to those areas in terms of annexation, because in many cases it's very costly to convert from rural services to city water, sewer, and street improvements. So requests like this we take very seriously. I know the City Planning Commission, I think, voted first on this, and I think the County Planning Commission voted second. But there are some concerns about whenever we get a rural development being proposed, whether it's one lot or 10 lots. And in this case, too, there is a question about the accessibility of that road that is being maintained, not by the township, but by the property owners. So that's just some general comments that I would have. We haven't taken a strong position for or against this one, but I'm just kind of throwing out some issues that we talk about a lot as you're thinking about how to vote on this one. So thank you.
Mr. Cooper, thank you. Folks, this is a second reading, so you have the opportunity to engage the County Commission as well as the City Council prior to them having some due diligence and some debate. Is there anybody in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Very good. I'm first going to hand it over to the Minnehaha County Commission. Commissioners, any comments or thoughts? Yes, Commissioner Barth.
Thank you, Your Honor. I represent the county on the Planning Commission for the county, and I was the vote in favor of this. I've since our meeting been out there twice looking at it, actually driving around the country. And it does have a very steep road going down to it, but I don't see any other possible use for this property besides becoming a residential unit. I don't think it could be used agriculturally, et cetera, and so I would favor using it to allowing this use of building a house. And unless Commissioner Peckus has an objection, I'll make a motion to approve.
Great, I'll second.
There has been a motion to approve by Commissioner Barth, and it was seconded by Commissioner Peckus. County Commission, any other dialogue in regards to this? Commissioner Kelly.
I don't know exactly how we could answer this.
Councilor Aguilar, could you hit that?
There we go. That is a section line. Is the township obligated to maintain that? And if they have school children in this house, what effect is that going to have?
They are obligated to maintain section lines, townships are, but they can designate them as minimum maintenance section lines, which means that they only generally or infrequently blade them and provide maintenance. So there are a number of levels of services that townships can perform on section line roads.
Well, is there an obligation to keep them open?
I believe that there is.
So, but at this point, the township is not maintaining it. It has not said it will not. Is that correct?
They haven't said, they're not maintaining it, and they haven't said that they will or won't.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Yes, Commissioner.
I just want to comment that they have not, this is not a through street. This just dead ends just shortly beyond this, I believe. And I don't believe there's any intention for the township to take over. It is a very steep driveway going down, and coming back, it is still gravel. You could probably spray some gravel with a two-wheel vehicle coming back up the hill. But I don't believe that the applicant, and they're here, has any intention of asking the township to maintain it. I see a shake of a head over here, but so I think that's a point, but I, again, would suggest approving this.
Very good. If I could just ask, is it protocol to allow the commission to discuss and then vote before we go to the council today? Or
I think we wanted to have.
Usually there's a motion, there's a vote, and, but discussion would be appropriate at this time because we already have a motion and a second.
For the commission,
Right.
including the but would it be appropriate for the city council to have dialogue at this time?
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Yes.
Very good. Well, then let's open it up to the entire floor. Councilor Rolfing.
Yes. I'm sorry, I have a couple of questions for, where, you mentioned a second house. Where is that located on your map?
I believe that driveway is is there a pointer on this?
Yeah, look on there. I think there's a laser.
Well, let's see here. It would be it's the driveway, it's that larger square property that's off to the east, which would be, is there a pointer or a mouse arrow that I can use here somewhere?
You just have to describe it.
Okay.
On the right side.
It's directly across the road from the parcel that's located in red.
Oh, it's across the section line?
Yeah,
To the east?
yeah.
But do they access on River?
Yes, they do come up. They come up off 41st Street, then they go north, and the neighbor then would turn to the right, the petitioner would turn to the left, and so that River Bluff Road provides access to the existing house that's there right now.
So they're exactly in the same spot, basically, where they would turn right
Yep.
and left to get off on okay, 'cause-
That's correct.
okay, so that's not as big a problem then as we would have imagined, because there is somebody already accessing their property from River Bluff. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to suggest in that situation then, because, you know, you've got unique place, which is a unique address, from on the east there that they could have accessed their property from, and that could have solved the problem there.
If you look at this photo here, this is basically looking east from the River Bluff Road, and if you turn your back and go the other way, that would be the driveway that would lead into the applicant's property.
Okay. Can I ask what the Planning Commission for Minnehaha County, what their reason was for denying this? What the other Planning Commission people felt was a reason for not allowing it, as long as there was already a part of that road going up there people were using already to get to their property?
I think it's somewhat summarized in the minutes, but primarily they had concerns on the creation of what they would term a building eligibility, and would it be setting a precedent for other areas in the county if, let's say I had a 10-acre parcel and I suddenly wanted to plat off a 2-acre parcel to sell and develop and keep my 10-acre or 8-acre balance. So there was some discussion on zoning, density zoning, the zoning of the density that we allow for residential development in the county.
Commissioner Barth, did you have anything additional maybe to add to that?
No, I don't know if the city council understands building eligibilities.
It's different.
But basically, and Scott maybe could do it better than I, but at some point in the past, we determined that rather than allow every acre to be subdivided willy-nilly across the county, that building eligibilities would be allocated depending on the size of your acreage, and that although they can be transferred from one property to another, that you wouldn't be able to just put 160 lots on 160 acres without being part of a city, for example.
Commissioner Barth, thank you. Councilor Staggers, did you have a comment?
No, the question's already been answered.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilor Karski.
Regarding eligibility, if I could, Scott, I mean, with the density that we have of residences out here, that really is a moot point, isn't it?
Well, the density zoning was adopted in 1987, and so the majority of these houses predate that. And so the overall intent was that there would be one residence per 40 acres. And you can see that this far exceeds that. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily out the window, but it doesn't neatly fit into the parameters of what we would see, let's say, 8 or 10 miles out of town, where you have a residential lot per 40 acres. And I think that was something that was discussed at the Planning Commission too, is that you have some of these unique parcels that are sort of left dangling out there that, what do you do with them? And that was a discussion that we had at the Planning Commission, because it's obvious that, this property owner has 2.5 acres roughly, and you can see from the photographs it's wooded, it's hilly. It's not agricultural land, as Commissioner Barth indicated, and so that was also discussed. But their concern is the increase of housing units out there.
Councilor Anderson, Jr.
Question for Mike Cooper to start with, please. Mike, if you can show us on this map, where is the actual city boundaries here?
It's 2 miles to the west of here.
To the west? Mm-hmm. Where is our...
Highway 11.
Okay, and so that's where our closest sewer and water trunks would be then too?
We have, the city limits goes a little bit past Highway 11, but that's kind of the proximity of this area.
Are we out to 6 Mile Road yet, or?
No.
Not that far?
Not in this particular area, no.
Okay. Can I ask, is the petitioners here? Could I ask a couple questions of you folks, if you wouldn't mind?
Hello, I'm Darren Blair.
Thank you. One of the statements that was made by the county is that at the time that the city's ready to be out in that area, that you would hook up to the sewer and water.
Correct.
Has it been explained to you the cost of that?
Yes, when I signed the easement for the sewer line coming through, I believe there were some costs. I know I live in the Pine Hills addition right to the west of that, and they've given us numbers for when the sewer comes through to hook up as well there. So.
Okay. And do you know what kind of, do you have those figures or just maybe off the top of your head?
I know in Pine Hills it was going to be like $6,000 per person. I know they're starting at the river and coming west with the sewer, and then heading to that lift station. The sewer comes right through the middle of my property, and it's going to take up a pretty good portion of it.
Okay.
The cost for hooking up, I don't have off the top of my head, but we negotiated putting a T in for when I do want to hook up to it someday. And it would have started, I signed the easement in 2009. They thought it would start shortly after, and I think there's still one easement that they haven't got signed. This is the reason it hasn't started, or it probably would have.
And with the property where you're going to locate the home, just to the south of that, that borders along 41st Street, what's your plans for that?
Well, like I said, I've donated most of it for an easement for the sewer to run pretty much straight across. So there was really no reason to rezone that part. So it's pretty much going to be my front yard. So.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Darren, thank you very much. Ms. Cooper, I know we don't have anybody here from Public Works, but do you have an estimate on what it would cost for the Blair family to hook up?
I'm sorry, I do not. I do not have
no,
that
that's
information
fine.
available.
I think for the record, though, it's probably a large amount. Is that fair?
Yes, I would say so.
Councilor Anderson Jr., is that kind of just...
I was asking because
Yes.
myself and Councilman Karski and Jameson were dealing with one property hooking up to sewer and water too, and the costs were interesting, we'll say.
Interesting and probably large.
Yes.
Very good. And then I'm going to move on to Councilor Entman.
Yes, Scott, question for you, and maybe this should be addressed to the property owners. You did mention that the utilities, water and sewer, were possibly going to come through here soon. And at that point in time, you indicated that the property owner said that he would hook up to it. Is it possible that an agreement can be signed that commits him to doing that at the point in time that it comes to us, or is this going to be a battle that we're going to have to fight down the road?
I don't know if there's a mechanism for the City of Sioux Falls to require them to agree to hook up once the sewer runs through there. And they are serviced by, I believe, Minnehaha Community Water, and that hookup and service would continue until the city water is out there, and I don't know when that would occur.
Okay, thank you.
Just to answer Councilman Edelman, I think the trigger is when they're annexed inside the city. Then there's a time period that they have to hook up.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Kelly.
Work this. There we go. Since we've got a motion on the table, we're in a discussion phase also, I think. My concern is, and it was the concern of the Planning Commission, I think, was the building eligibility. Not that this probably wouldn't, because it's a pretty significant area as far as housing, but we've got an entire county we have to consider. But I hate to say, if we do this, do we have to do it down the road? But to an extent, that's what's going to happen, is we're going to have there are other developments out there, or there are people that you know, have used both the eligibilities or all four of the eligibilities on their quarter, and now they want another one. And we've dealt with this problem over the years, but and the eligibilities do have a value, which is now a concern of ours, I guess, but we will only move them if they are contiguous. This is clearly a brand new eligibility, and that's what that plus that road are two of the big concerns that I know I have with this issue.
Councilor Jameson.
Kenny Anderson answered the question.
Thank you, Councilor. Sorry about that. Well, very good discussion, councilors, very good discussion, County Commission. With that, we do have a motion on the floor by the Minnehaha County Commission. All those in favor with the Minnehaha County Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It has passed 2-1. However, because it was not unanimous, I've been informed that this item then is deferred to a later date. Before I move on to the council, or before I move on with the end of this meeting, I just want to verify that. That's correct. Commissioner? That's correct. Very good, thank you. That has been verified. So with that in mind, this item is deferred to a later date, but I will allow some discussion.
This will go back to the joint meeting for a deferral, or does it come back to the commission, John? That's where
No,
without five of us here, this is a difficult decision.
It'll come back to this joint body for determination when we have the full commission here.
But we will discuss it. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Commissioner Peckus has just outlined that this item, because it was not a unanimous vote, it will come back to this body, this joint body, at a later date when there are, and that date is August 27th. And then it'll come back, we'll have additional discussion, and then depending on the outcome of the county commission vote at that time, we'll determine whether the city council has an opportunity to vote on it. Councilor Staggers.
Yeah, I was just wondering, would it be possible for the city council simply to vote on it right now?
No.
And then let them do it later?
From what I understand, the commission always precedes the city on items like this. And so they right now have the authority, and they've made their decision, and now we'll defer it to August 27th. Thank you. It was a great discussion. I appreciate your time and talent tonight. This meeting is adjourned. It will be adjourned once I get a motion to adjourn it. County Commission?
So moved.
And seconded?
I'm going to second it, but Dick, you have to vote with us, or we all have to sit here all night.
Very good. I think that's leading a little bit, but that's okay. All those in favor with the County Commission to adjourn this meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Council, a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn, Entenmann.
Councilor Erbenbach's made a motion to adjourn. It was seconded by Councilor Entenmann. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This joint meeting between the council and the commission is adjourned. Make it a great night, Minnehaha County and the City of Sioux Falls.